my name is Kirsty. Welcome to Kirsty Knits and Sews. This is my podcast where I share all the things that I have been making. And my goodness, I have so much to share with you today. I'm not even sure I'm going to get through it all. I am on a timer, which I didn't actually set. Look at that. Let's set this now. I am on a timer because I have somewhere that I need to be and I need to leave in about an hour. So we're going to see how much I get done. I do have some other little bits of film to pop in here to give you a bit more of information as I go. But if you're new here, welcome. This is mostly knitting, sometimes crochet, sometimes sewing, sometimes spinning, sometimes dyeing. It's just a bit of everything. I just like craft. If you've come back again to see another episode, welcome back. It is great to see you here again. And as always, I'd love for you to comment down below and tell me what you're working on and what you're doing while we're here together for this time, because I love the two-way of this and hearing about all of your fun projects as well. Now, it's been 6, maybe 7 weeks since I've recorded. And the main reason for that is my parents are visiting from Australia, and it has just been an absolutely delightful and very crazy busy time as we incorporate 2 more lives into our daily life here as we show them around Poland a little bit. I'm Australian, but I live in Rzeszów in Poland with my husband and my kids. And we've also had the beginning of school again. And so it's just been a little bit crazy, but I am here. I'm so excited. Yeah, let's dive in. What do we have today? I have some secret sewing that has been gifted so I can show you. I have, I think, 10 finished objects to share with you. I have whips, I have yarn starts from August, and I could probably give you September's as well. It's September 30th, it's the last day. I don't think I'm going to finish anything else, but we'll still leave that for next time. I have some mending, which is going to be in with the finished objects, I think. And I have plans for the Mystery Knit Along, the Stephen West MusiKAL. Yes, I am doing that again this year, and I am excited to show you the yarn that I've chosen before cast on this week. Yep, this week, Thursday. In 2 days, the clue drops. Oh, so excited. All right, so in August, I finished 5 pairs of socks and 1 cowl, and that came to a total of 473 grams. Yes, I wish I had gone above the 500 just because I like that as a halfway point, but 473 grams, 5 pairs of socks and a cowl. That's pretty good for a month. The other thing that I wanted to mention before I jump into finished objects is the Christmas in July-ish knit along. Thank you for everyone who joined in with that. It was a lot of fun to see Christmas projects in the middle of the year and also to get a kickstart on gift knitting. I finished, as of now, which is end of September, I have finished 21 out of the 45 projects that I had earmarked for this knit along, which is, to be honest, a lot more than I expected. I don't actually know how many I finished at the end of August. I haven't gone back and counted, but I know that 2 of those I marked off today. So I think we're going to say 19 that I finished in July and August. Sorry, if you hear my dog, there's probably a delivery. Yeah, so I'm going to say I finished 19 in July and August for the Christmas in July-ish knit along, and I have finished 2 more since then. And I have another few that are close to being done. Yeah, and some that probably won't get done by Christmas at this point. But yeah, so thank you so much if you were joining in with that. It was, yeah, really enjoyable to see what people were working on. All right. Oh, before I go any further, what I'm wearing, I am wearing Framed, which is a sweater patterned by Andrea Mowry. It was her Rhinebeck sweater 2 years ago, I think, and I bought the pattern when it was first released. This yarn here is the same as the blue in the stars. It's just hand-dyed yarn that looks different. So I had one skein that was significantly more brown. And so I used that for the cuff, the collar, and the hem at the bottom. Look at the back. And then I used the 2 skeins that were more blue for the rest of the colour work. It is... it's Rios in the Ciepła de Tierra y Tierra colorway. Malabrigo, that's the one. I was thinking of a different brand, Malabrigo Rios, which is a worsted weight. And then the grey is a Corriedale that I spun long draw from a bat. But the fibre I bought from Fibre Art Shed in Australia, which is one of my go-to places for buying fibre when I'm in Australia. Or when I can convince people to bring it over to Poland for me. So that's what I'm wearing. I will link the project page down below. And that reminds me, for all of the projects that I talk about, including the one that is mending for today, I do have a project page on Ravelry. And you'll see why that one has its own project page when we get there. Yeah, so all of that is on Ravelry, and I will have links down below to where you can find them. I think that is it. So let's jump in. I have this basket here, which is full of everything that I finished for the Christmas in July-ish gift along, and anything I finished since then as well. So we'll just kind of dive in. This is in no particular order except for what's on the top of the basket. So this one is actually a pretty cute finish. This is out of yarn, Grundle Hot Socks. It is colorway 402. This one was a special request. One of my mum and dad's friends has a granddaughter who had asked her grandmother to knit socks, and she was like, I'm never going to be able to knit these socks in time for this granddaughter to wear them. She was like, it would just take years. Now, this granddaughter is a toddler. She has tiny feet. And so mum said that she had offered my services and that they would pay for the wool or whatever. And I was like, seriously, for a tiny foot, I can just make socks with what I have. So the request was pink, red, purple, orange were the favourite colours. But the request from the mother was that it hides dirt, which I totally understand. So I found this one in my stash and I thought there's pink, there's purple, and it will hide dirt a bit better than a lot of other bright colours. And so I made 2 pairs of very cute little socks. Now I didn't try and match them. You can see I did a heel flapping gusset, and so I used the same yarn, which means the striping on the top is a bit erratic. But yeah, I think it's totally okay that I've done that. Hopefully this little girl will love having these socks. I did DK weight vanilla socks, which is a crazy sock lady pattern, which has the count for 48 stitches, but it's designed for DK weight. And so I did that, but then I held the yarn, sorry, I used fingering weight yarn with 2.5mm needles. So I used my normal sock yarn and normal sock yarn needles, but I did the stitch count for the medium in the DK weight vanilla sock pattern, which is a free pattern if you want to try making DK weight vanilla socks or baby socks. So I did that, and then I just measured the foot. I was told 13 centimeters from heel to toe, and so that's what we've got here. Now, having made these, I thought they are quite small, and I thought of some socks that I made for my daughter, which when I made them were already too small for her. Now, these 2 girls are about the same age, but my daughter is quite tall for her age, and so her feet are also quite big for her age. And so I went and had a look, and I have this pair that I'd made for my daughter, which she may have worn once, but have actually been too small for her since I've made them. And my intention, haha funny, was to take out the toe, knit it a bit longer, and then reknit the toe. However, I know, and you know, that that's going to take forever to do. And I don't even know if I still have any of this rainbow yarn left. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to give these socks to the little girl that I've made these for as well, because they are like almost exactly the same size. Look at that. And so she's going to get 2 pairs of socks. Yes, that one won't hide the dirt, but should make a little girl's heart very happy. So she's going to get 2 pairs of socks, and I will just knit my daughter another pair. So that was one of my finished objects. I still have, like, I could make my daughter some out of this one, but yeah, I still have quite a lot. The rainbow ones, sorry, these ones, I don't have stats for. I don't remember what the rainbow is Dying Dream, which is an Australian yarn dyer. Dying Dreams, I think. The other one is 28 grams for this pair of socks. So about half a 50 gram skein to make this pair of socks. And I started them on the 15th of September and finished them on the 21st. So that was a pretty quick, simple, easy knit. And she's got 2 pairs. I'm really excited that there's 2 pairs for this girl. All right. The next one that I have here, I don't know if you've seen at any point, actually. I think I showed you the yarn and maybe put a photo up, but I don't remember if they had been started. I can probably find out, actually. Nope, I started these after the last time I podcasted. So I'm just going to put one on the blocker, but they are done. These ones are, well, I'm calling them Salvador Dali socks. The yarn itself, I don't think I have in here. It is Opal number 1431. And it said 2002 Nanita AG. I think it was an art gallery one. So they took a painting and they made sock colours based on that painting. However, I didn't do it based on the painting or for the painting it was based on. I found a Salvador Dali painting which I thought looked very similar, and so I used it to replicate that painting. My brother-in-law really likes Salvador Dali, so I'm hoping he will enjoy these socks as being inspired by that. They do not match. Oh, I take that back. They match as well as you can match without planning to match. I did not plan that. I did not do any yarn management. You can see the toes are slightly different. There's a little bit more green on this one. I did not plan that. That was just, I finished it and then I started the next one, and that's how it worked out. That's actually happened a fair few times recently. So there you go. I don't try and match Opal. The repeat is so long that like it's from here to here is the repeat. So I don't try and pull out or match, but occasionally they do match almost perfectly and it's just exciting. This is, again, Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop by Cave the Crazy Sock Lady, 2.5mm needles, which is different to the pattern. And this is a size medium, which is what most of the people in my life wear. Some people wear large. I don't know anyone who wears small. Oh, my son. Hello. Yes. So I started on the 15th of August and finished on the 31st of August. So this was my last finish that was official in the Christmas and July-ish gift along. All right, these ones I think I've already shown you. I'm not going to show you in full details all the ones I've already done, but these were also a Christmas in July gift along. These ones were scrappy socks, which are part of the gift along. I actually now need to wrap all of these up. These ones are Rhinebeck Roomies, which were part of the gift along. These ones are Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop that were part of the gift along. So now I need to turn my basket around. Aha. All right, we'll take you out and do that separate. Oh, look, I do. So this is the Salvador Dali socks, but that is the artwork that it was actually based on. And it's colour 1431, which I think I've already said. So there you go, I did have that there. These ones have I shown you. Now I'm going to have a moment of whose socks are actually who and do I remember. I don't think I've shown you these ones yet. No, I haven't shown you these ones. So this is another pair that I finished for the gift along. This is a size large. As I said, some of them are different sizes, and you can see here that it's just got a bit more room on the blocker than the other one does, so it does make a difference what size I do. Still Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop. I do have 2 socks here, and this one is also Vincent by Opal. And this one is based on the bedroom in Arles. I'm going to mispronounce that. It is colour number 5430. So that's the yarn. That's the sock. I started these on the 6th of August and finished them on the 18th of August. So very excited to have this one done. And I'm going to put it over here so I can wrap them up too. So many things at the moment. And then I have these ones. Oh, there's another pair down there that I haven't shown you too. Wowzers. All right. So these ones are vanilla socks on Magic Loop, size medium. I do, again, have both socks finished. This is also Vincent Opal, and this is the Restaurant de la Sirena. Again, apologies for pronunciation. So this is colour number 5437, and it knits up like this. I loved knitting this one up. I found the colours to be so subtle compared to some of the other ones that I've been knitting, and so peaceful that I actually really, really enjoyed knitting this one. Maybe more than some of the other ones. But I did enjoy, I think I bought 6 skeins of Vincent Opal. I've knit 5 of them and I have 1 wound up waiting to be knit. But yes, I've enjoyed doing them and watching the different patterns. These ones I started on the 15th of August and I finished them on the 31st of August. So there you go. This was the final pair. I did this one and this one. I finished on the 30th and then the 31st to try and finish my Christmas in July gift along with a bang. That was exciting. And I have one more pair of socks in here as well. This one is also Dying Dream, who I mentioned for the rainbow socks earlier. And this is just a merino nylon sock yarn. And I have shown you these before, but they're now finished. And we're in fact finished before a lot of the other ones I just showed you. Again, vanilla socks on Magic Loop, size medium, 2.5mm needle, and look at that. So much fun. I did do these ones on DPN. I normally do Magic Loop. It just depends on what I have available as needles and what mood I'm in. I tend to do DPN more if it's a pattern rather than plain. And I have recently bought a second pair of 2.5mm, 80cm Chowgu red lace needles for socks so that I can have 2 pairs of vanilla on the go at the same time. But these ones, I just loved how it pulled and flushed and so much fun. So again, they are now both done. They do not match perfectly in terms of pulling, but that's what hand-dyed yarn does. And I loved it. These were a delight to knit and are also incredibly soft. Opal is a little bit more rustic in feel. It's a more of a tough sock, I would say. This one is soft and delightful and will be a delight to wear, but they're not for me either. These are all gifts. And I have this much left over from that. I will say, where are they? I have a pair missing, guys. I'm going to go see if I can find them. Pause. All good. I found it. All right, so this last one is another Opal. This one is Sunflowers, Opal Vincent, Sunflowers, colour number 5432. Now, this is what I have left of this one. I used almost the whole thing. And let me grab another sock blocker. This is what they look like. Now, this is also a size large. And look at that. So much fun. Again, both of them are done. 2.5mm vanilla socks on Magic Loop by Kate of the Crazy Sock Lady. Yes, these are done. I always do 2x2 rib for my socks. That goes for all of these socks. I've done 2x2 rib no matter what the pattern says. This one, I want to say I did maybe 60 rows, maybe it was 50 or 60 for the leg. because it is a long sock. I normally do 40 for a leg for most socks that I make, 40 rows that is, and then for myself sometimes I'll do 20 because I quite like a short one for when I'm wearing ankle boots. But yeah, so this one is also done. It took 85 grams here. No, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure it's 85. Yeah, 85 grams here, and this is not more than 10 grams. So there wasn't a full 100 grams in this skein. I don't weigh all of my yarn before I start, but I do find that sometimes commercially dyed yarn, you don't quite get the 100 grams, where indie dyed, I find you usually get a little bit more than 100 grams. So if you're new to knitting, something to be aware of if you are really, really pushing it for weight and you're using commercially dyed yarn, maybe get an extra ball. All right, so that's that one. Where am I up to, hey? Those ones I started on the 31st of August and finished on the 26th of September. So that's actually a pretty recent finish. Oh, where are they? I keep missing things. I'll be back in a sec. All right, I think I'm good. I made sure I had all of my whips here, but I didn't make sure I had all my finished objects here. So this is one of my most recent finishes that I would just put on some blockers and show you. These are DK Weight. Whew, a little breathless, just ran up and down the stairs. These are DK Weight vanilla socks. Yeah, DK Weight vanilla socks. Okay, the Crazy Sock Lady. Size medium, but with DK Weight. So you can see the difference. Same stitch count, same pattern, different weight yarn and size needles. So I do use the needles recommended in the pattern for this. And this one is fingering weight held double. I will put the other one on because they are slightly different. All right. So these ones I started on the 4th of September and I finished on the 28th. Now, you can see the colour. This one's got a redder heel and this one's got a more purple heel. So from the top you get slightly different colours. But yes, I love them. These ones, DK Weight socks do not take me long. Like I can knit an entire sock in a day reasonably easily. So the fact that they took 3 weeks is a bit ridiculous, but let me explain. First of all, this is a yarn, there was a knot, so I did leave the part that was small separate. It is by Hobby. Do I have it? Yes. It's Hobby Silly Socks, 75/25, and it is colour 9. And I held it double with this, which is something that I just dyed myself. I think it was an end of like a mop-up skein when I was dyeing other things. And so it had been sitting there for a while, and so holding it double, I love it. You end up with this almost like watercolor effect. So, so beautiful. So that's the yarn, both sock yarn, and I did them, yeah, on 3.25mm needles, which is recommended. However, I started these. My parents came, they went away for a few days, and we had some other friends from Australia visit. So I started them when they were here. Then they went home and my parents came back and I worked on them a little bit, and then my daughter had an accident. She's okay, but she had an accident. We had to take her to hospital. And so I took these with me to hospital because I'm like, if I'm going to be sitting and waiting for a long time, I want something to work on. So I took these, worked on them, not a problem. We went back home with my daughter, but there was a question of would we need to go back to hospital again quickly at some point. So I packed a bag of stuff to take to the hospital because the first time we just kind of walked out without much of anything. And like I had my knitting, we didn't have any snacks, we didn't have phone chargers, like it was not very well planned. So then I was like, I'm packing a bag so that if we need to run out again, we can. And I put these in it. We didn't need to go back to the hospital. everything was fine. My daughter is completely recovered, not a problem. But I didn't unpack that bag. And then I started wandering around going, where's my knitting? I can't find my knitting. And like a week of looking where all my knitting lives and I couldn't find it. And then the other day I was like, right, I'm going to find this. I'm going to go through the entire house and find it. And I started, and when I got to the front entrance room where there are places I would normally put knitting, and I noticed this bag and I was like, why is that bag here? It looks like it's got something in it, but I thought I emptied it. And I opened it and everything came flooding back and I was like, oh, that's right. It was my hospital bag. So I pulled them out and I had them done in a day to finish them off, like 2 days maybe, because I was still on the toe of the first sock. So I finished the toe, knit basically down to the same point on the second sock, and then the following day finished off the toe. So I'm glad that I had them, that I didn't lose them. I'm glad that my daughter's okay. But yes, that is the story of these socks and why DK socks took so long to finish. So yes, I'm glad that I could show you them. Yeah, 4th to the 28th. So I finished them 2 days ago. There you go. All right, I think that is all of my sock finished objects, but let's go into the other things that I have finished recently. All right, so the first one I'm going to show you is one that you all saw me trying to desperately finish before my parents got here. And I did finish it before they got here, and it has now been given to my dad, and I can show you the finished thing and he's not going to have any spoilers. So this is the Moby Neck by Petite Knit, I believe. Look at those cables. The yarn is Inga by... where did I buy it from? Wojciech, I think, is the one who sells it in Poland. I don't know if they produce it, but it's where they sell it. So Inga, it's a, I want to say fingering weight single ply. And then I used a Surrey alpaca mohair, also from Wojciech, to hold it double to get the halo and the colour. Now, the Inga is a slow colour change. I didn't understand that when I bought the yarn. I didn't realise that, but I'm really glad it worked really well. And have I shown you this fully before? Now I'm second guessing myself. Did I show you the finished one? No, I finished it the day after I last recorded. Okay, so now I'm second guessing myself. Anyway, it is, yeah, a single ply held double with a Surrey alpaca mohair. The single ply has a colour gradient. The Surrey alpaca is consistent throughout, which is why you have more marling here versus down here where it's almost the same colour. I love it. I gave it to my dad for Father's Day, which in Australia is the first Sunday in September. So he's had it, and I'm just going to put a little clip in here of my dad talking about this.
I'm wearing this beautiful thingy bob that Kirsty made me. It's got a name, but she'll tell you what that is. There you go, look, flash. Oh, it finishes there, but I can tuck it in like this, which is great. I haven't tucked it in the back, but it'll tuck in as well. That means that when I'm out painting, I get a nice warm neck while I don't have to have a bulky jumper on my arms.
Right, I'm back. You can see how happy he is with it. He will wear it when he's painting in Australia, and he'll try not to get paint on it, but you know, that's fine if he does. I did get to go painting with him the other day here. It was delightful. I didn't bring up the painting I did. There was one that I did that I finished and I really liked, and there was another one I started that needs a lot more work to make it nice, but we did go painting together, which was delightful. My dad is an artist and has his own channel here on YouTube with his art things that I'll link below. Yeah, so he's happy. He loves the colours, he loves the feel, he loves the cables. He's very, very happy. I don't know what else to say. This is the second time I've done this pattern and I love it, and I would, I think, like to do the sweater at some point because it is delightful to knit and I think to wear as well. All right, the next one that I have is the secret sewing. And this one is kind of a 2-for-1 because it's something that I made recently that matches something that I made a long time ago. So actually, I have a video of Mum and Dad wearing these. So I'll let you watch the video first and then I'll come back and share some more about it.
I commissioned these jackets from Kirsty, or maybe 10 years ago, for or more, 13, well, for a special community called the Emmaus community for us to wear. And mine got done, but then our community closed and we didn't need them anymore. And so Suzanne's just becoming more involved again now. So hers got finished and she got given it while she was here with our lovely daughter.
I really love this. It fits beautifully. It's beautifully finished and I'm going to enjoy wearing it immensely.
Yeah. All right. So confession time. It was 13 years. 13 years. Dad came to surprise me for my 23rd birthday. And we went to the shop that I worked in and we picked out all the fabrics for these. And his maybe took a year or two to finish. Like, it wasn't a quick finish for him. But then I kept putting off and having it on my to-do list and not actually doing it. So I finally finished the one that he commissioned for Mum. So here is the one for Mum. This is the back. And it, yeah, I'm so happy with it. The butterflies, I used Vlisifix, which is a iron-on glue. So it comes on paper, you cut out the shape, you iron it onto, you peel one side off, you iron it onto the fabric, you peel the other side off, you iron it back onto the other fabric. So they're glued on effectively, and then I've just gone around the edges with satin stitch. I did end up having to put a buttonhole in the middle of this butterfly, which was just bad placement on my part of the butterflies, but that's okay. Dad's vest, when I made it, which I also have here, he has a, oh, that's inside out, that's why it's not working. He has a plain back on his. Being 10 years between making them, I couldn't remember exactly what I'd done. And his front is a little bit more bright. So I did do his embroidery with black to make them pop a little bit more on his crazy bright. Where for Mum's, I chose colours to go around the butterflies because I thought hers was not quite so overwhelming and it could have a bit more colour. So yeah, I'm really happy that they're both done. And I did with Mum's also add stuff on the back to just make it that bit more fun. Because there was such a big gap between Dad saying I want you to make it and me actually making it, sizing did change. And I had already cut out all the pieces for Mum, but I didn't have any more fabric that I can cut more out. So when I got her to measure herself and I was like, oh, that's not going to work anymore, I ended up doing some calculations and so added this strip of butterflies down the centre and also under the arms to give that extra bit of room so that it would fit comfortably, not be too tight. And it worked beautifully. I did mirror that on the inside, so I cut a bit of extra lining as well. But yeah, it worked beautifully. It just makes it that much more fun as well. Yeah, so this is one of my secret sewings to go with secret sewing that I completed years ago. So yes, I love that they're both done and that they're now going home with Mum and Dad to be used and enjoyed. All right, what else do we have? I've showed you them, I've showed you them, I've showed you them, and them, and them, and them. All right, there is one more finished object, and this is the repair. Now, normally mending I wouldn't include in finished objects, but this is a bit different. Yeah, again, I'm going to stop and let you watch the clip because this is also for Dad, and then I'll come back and talk to you a bit more about it.
This is my favourite vest that I've had for 30 years. 30 years. And it was knitted by my father, so Kirsty's grandfather, but it had a shorter rib on this, which sort of came to about here. It shrunk a little bit, got a bit matted, and it was wearing at the bottom. So I brought it back here to Kirsty to repair, and she's redone the whole bottom of it, about that much to the end, which works better on my bigger belly than I had when I first got it. And it's wonderful, and now I can wear it again.
So basically, this vest my granddad made in 1995. It is a Carlton vest, which is an Australian football team, Aussie rules football, and this is the logo for Carlton. They won the premiership in 95 and in other years as well, which are knit into here in the navy. But after he'd almost finished or finished, they won again, so he then duplicate stitched this onto the back. So it's kind of a memorial, which is how I know that it's 30 years old, because it's 95 was when it was made. When Dad came, this was the ribbing, and you can see here, maybe there's like a whole bunch of, like, sure, I could ladder that up and fix it, but it's just a lot is broken over here as well. And so he said, I want it mended, but I would also like it longer. I thought, I can mend that, but that's not going to make it longer. So I chopped the ribbing off, and I did use thread from this part of the ribbing to mend, like here in the V, that was broken in there. So I fixed that and used the original yarn to fix that. My mum and I went to a yarn show, which was a lot of fun, and I have other yarn here that I will talk to you about that in a minute that I'm using for a project already. But we went to a yarn show, and I looked all over for navy blue wool that matches this. And let me tell you, there wasn't a lot. So I found, oh, it's going to be all out, isn't it? I did find some yarn. Yeah, sorry, I found some. There was some that was DK weight and close. There was some that was fingering weight and very close, but they only had one ball of the fingering weight yarn. And I could have waited till they got some in and then bought it and had it shipped out to me. But by this point, it was already in September. We were up to about a month before they left. And so I needed to make sure I had time to actually knit it, not just get the yarn before they left, but actually have the time to knit it. So I went online to see if I could match that other one, and I thought I had matched it, and what came is this, which is not the best colour match. It was much paler than the other one. So this is Sessia Mistral. It's delightful yarn. It's 100% wool, and this is colour 0474. But it wasn't what I needed for this. And so we had a little powwow, and I was like, I could use the DK weight, which isn't right. I could use the fingering weight held double that was closest, and then hope I can get more. But by this point, we'd bought 6 balls of wool, like 300 grams of wool, to try and fix this vest, and none of it was quite right. And doing it online is never going to be as good as doing it in person anyway. And so I said, look, what we're going to do, actually no, even more, because 3 of the ones that I bought ended up being chunky for some reason. I thought it was this, but in DK weight, and I clearly didn't read it properly. It came in chunky, so Dad's making himself a scarf with that one. But anyway, we were like, we're not going to buy more wool online and hope that it works, because that's not working for us. And Dad basically said, my main thing is I want it done. I want it wearable. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect. He didn't expect it to be perfect. He just wants to be able to wear it again. So I said, you know what? We'll do it. I ended up with 2 balls of this and one of the closer colour. And then I searched in my stash and I found another ball that was close in colour. And so I ended up holding this double with the one that was better, and then the second ball of this double with the other one that was, I think, better. And we ended up with this. Now, this is not blocked, and I'm using natural light. It's a cloudy day, so we'll see how this works. You can see definitely, and you can see in the video, there is a colour difference. I think the white saves it a little bit in that your eye is drawn here, not up here quite so much. But there's definitely a colour change, and you can even see here, there's another colour change here where I changed from one ball of wool to the other. So this part down the bottom, it almost matches better, at least in the camera it's looking better. So you've actually got 3 distinct colour changes, one to here, one here, and then that went to the bottom. It is what it is. Dad loves it. He has already worn it a few times and will keep wearing it. What I did to extend it, because he did want it extended, is I took the pattern from up here and I replicated that down here. And I did, like here, there's 1 row of pearl bump, a single row of stockinette, and then 2 rows of pearl bump. So I did that in reverse here to kind of frame this part. Then I did the, I think it's 4x4 of 4 knit, 4 pearl, 4 knit, 4 pearl. And I did just a row of stockinette, pearl, stockinette between each one to separate that, which is, again, mirroring what my granddad did up here. And then to finish off, I did knit, pearl, knit, pearl, knit to give this thicker kind of border. I did change needle size because this is kind of slightly felted. I did do quite a small needle to start with. I ended up with a 2.75 to try and match gauge, and that ended up being a bit too small. So after I'd done these pearl rows, I went up to a 3.25, I think, and I ended up using that the whole way down the ribbing. I didn't go back down to a 3 because I felt it was still a bit tight, but I wasn't going to change it again. And because you saw Dad wearing it, he won't mind me saying this, it'll suck in under his gut a bit. So it's fine that it's a little bit tighter down the bottom. So that is that. And I have to say, I remember my granddad knitting. My mum and dad both taught us to knit as kids, so it wasn't granddad who taught us. But I remember every time us going to his house, he would always have something in his hands in the evening, knitting away. And so to be able to mend and bring back to life and extend the life of something that he made that has been so loved over the last 30 years was really special. It took a bit of planning, a bit of time, but it was really special to be able to work on that. And I know that that is going back to my dad, who will continue to wear it for the rest of his life, let's be honest. All right. And I have, it ended up taking 150 grams of yarn to do it. This white is Bendigo Woolen Mills in the cream colourway, which is I'm pretty sure it's a 10 ply is what I had. It may have been an 8 ply. But either way, it held up against the fingering weight, held double. And it doesn't look the same colour as that. It looks much whiter, but that's because this has been worn and dirty. I'm pretty sure that started at a very similar colour because this will have been made in Bendigo Woolen Mills. That's what my granddad used. So yeah, excited. I haven't blocked it. I haven't cut off the strings. I will probably actually just cut off the strings and send it home with Dad, and when it needs a wash, he'll wash it and look after it because he's been doing it for 30 years. Okay, what else do we have? They are all my finished objects with one little exception. This isn't new, but my dad was having such fun showing you and talking about all the things that I've made him that he wanted to put this one on and show you as well. So I'm just going to play you one little clip about this vest that I made. This is the tessellated vest by Andrea Mowry. And it is using dye done, I think it's Yakka. for the green into the woods, and the white I think is snowbound, and then the changing colour is hand spun. I made this for Dad a year and a half ago, 2 years ago is about when I was working on this, and he just wanted to say a little word about this too. So I'm going to let you watch that video, and then I'll be back to show you what I'm working on now, which I'm really excited about.
Now this vest I love. I was actually here when Kirsty was spinning this lovely wool that goes into the coloured in the pattern here, when she first started to learn to spin. And as with all jumpers in my family, my father's and hers, the background is just as beautiful as the front with the ferrule. And this is so warm and cozy. I love vests. I used to wear them all the time because I was an art teacher, so I couldn't wear long jumpers. They'd always get paint on them. So vests are my thing, and this is my favourite. In fact, I think it's probably, apart from that Carlton one, probably the most favourite vest I've ever owned.
Okay, I am under no illusion that I'm going to get through everything that I've been working on currently in the next 7 minutes, which is what I have before I need to go. But let's make a start, shall we? First thing is, in this beautiful bag, I had the friends from Australia who came to visit. They came through a few different countries. One of those countries was Timor-Leste, and they brought me a bag from there, which has a zip at the front, which is perfect for yarn. Really, really love it. Thank you so much, Tasha and Ash. Yeah, so they brought me this bag, which I absolutely love. And it's all hand woven by women in Timor-Leste. So extra special. I immediately put some colourwork socks in it and made progress. All right, these socks I started, more than a year ago, September last year. And I'm finally making progress on them. So these are the Stardew Valley socks, which is a pattern. Actually, it's 4 patterns. They've got spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And I'm doing the spring ones at the moment. Now, these ones have worked pretty well. Look at those clouds. Look at the hills coming in. These ones, I kept making mistakes in the clouds. So the clouds are a bit less idyllic shaped, but I wasn't ripping back. So these are also a present that I've been working on. When Mum and I went to the yarn show, I took a pair of just plain vanilla socks, and I took these. And my thought was, if I want something a bit more creative, I can do these ones. And I knit on them almost the whole way to the yarn show on the train, and then the whole way home from the yarn show on the train. So I made quite a bit of progress. I was on the clouds on the first sock on the way to the yarn show, and then I was missing this kind of green. No, not even. I was missing this kind of green. So I stopped before I got to these mountains, these blue mountains on this sock. And then I got this one as far as I could to the beginning of the light blue. And then I, at the yarn show, looked for yarn this colour. So this is Grundle Hot Socks Merino. And I also got this one, which is also Grundle Hot Socks Merino. So this is colour 20 and the lighter green is colour 8. And this is delightful. I think for colourwork socks, this may be my new go-to. It is softer than the Grundle Hot Socks colour that I've been using, the stripy one. It is just delightful. I did buy another ball online. It's not in here. To get a different colour that I also needed. And it's really nice. It's not merino, it's a different one. But whatever it is, it's still sock yarn. And it is also delightful to use. So it's interesting to me how the same brand can have sock yarn with so many different feels to it. Definitely Grundle Hot Socks Merino and the other one, which I can't remember. I would 100% recommend for socks. Oh, now I'm dropping yarn everywhere. This one, the Hot Socks colour, it's just that little bit more rustic feeling, where this is plumper in my opinion, and just, yeah, plumper, more soft. Anyway, the things that I am learning. So I knit them until I got home, and then I got stuck again because I needed a different green that I didn't have for this part. So I put them away and kept working on a different pair of socks I was using or doing. And the green that I couldn't find, I bought one online and it still wasn't quite right. And then I found exactly the colour I needed, but I had stolen it from this bag to put into one of my 12 cast-ons where I needed this colour green for a different sock. So this time, instead of stealing it back and having a problem with the other one, I just wound off half of it into a ball so I can finish these socks and I'll still have enough for the other socks. So those ones are on the way. I think what I discovered is having the long uninterrupted time to just sit and work on them was amazing. So I will probably get them out again once my parents have gone and I have a little bit more time to space to stop and think instead of like quickly doing things in the middle of crazy schedules. All right, another one that I've been working on is another 12 cast-ons. This one is the Kookaburra jumper. It is a pattern by Marzena Kowalczyk, who is a Polish designer who lives in Sydney. All of her patterns are available in English and in Polish. So I'm actually following this one in Polish as a way to practice my Polish for knitting. And it has been working very well. So I'm following it in Polish and it's making sense to me. So I can only imagine how clear it would be if I was doing it in English. This is the Kookaburra jumper. And I'm making this for my husband. It is a size 4, I believe. And the other thing that's great about Marzena's patterns is that each size has its own PDF. So I've downloaded the size 4 PDF and it will tell me everything I need for this size. I don't have to try and figure out exactly like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the number I'm following today. It's all exactly what I need for this size. And it has made it so easy because I know that every bit of information in that pattern is relevant for what I'm doing. None of this, you know, if you're in this side, skip ahead to this section stuff. It is helpful. So this is, I think it's charted and written. You've got the pines is what they're called pattern up the top, and then seed stitch down the bottom, and I am onto the ribbing. Now I've reached the point of starting the ribbing twice. The first time I realised that the last 4 inches where I changed ball, it was a different dialogue and it was noticeably different and I could not convince myself to keep going. So I ripped back 4 inches of seed stitch and yeah, started again with the right colour. And I went to the stuff that I bought and I split it into the 2 dye lots. So I have enough to do probably a jumper for myself in the other dye lot. But plenty to finish this jumper in the one that I was using. So I've split them up, put them aside, re-knit that 4 inches and then started the ribbing. And because it's seed stitch, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but see how that ribbing kind of goes up higher here and lower here? That is just a result of the pattern and how that pattern flows in. And I thought I was making a mistake, but I went back to the photos and I looked really closely and I couldn't see that on the photos. So I haven't made a mistake, but also I had never once noticed on the photo that it had that kind of wavy effect at the top of the ribbing. So I have no problem following the pattern through to the end. I think I've got another 2 inches or so of ribbing to do before that's done. And then I will go maybe do the collar next and then pick up for the sleeves. I did get my husband to try it on to check length. So I think we're good for length. I don't know what's going to happen when I block it. I haven't done a gauge swatch. I haven't blocked this yet, but I'm just going to keep going and I'll figure out if I need to make adjustments later. You know me. That was a 12 cast on. So I started that one on the 3rd of January. If you don't know what I mean when I say a 12 cast on, Ange from Yarn and Yarns has a knit along where you cast on up to 12 projects between the 24th of December and the 30th of January in the following year, and then you work on them for the rest of the year. And so I joined in last year, and I am joining in again this year, and I started 12 projects for me, I started on the 26th of December and finished on the 7th of January, and I've been working through them all. I finished 4 out of 12. That is one of them. I'm working on another few at the moment. I don't know, honestly, if I'm going to even finish one more before Christmas, but we'll see. This one is my newest official cast on. It was part of 12 cast ons. And this is also yarn that I bought at the yarn show. So this is the Alpine Bloom by Boiler Knitworks. And this is an idea of what it looks like. It is a colourwork yoke t-shirt. And as 12 cast-ons, I started spinning this, which is merino, 3-ply, hand-spun merino. It ended up as a light fingering. It's actually very fine, slightly too fine, but I'm going with it anyway. And then at the yarn show, I was trying to find something to go with it, and I was looking at blues and I was looking at purples, and I wasn't happy, and I ended up buying a purple that would work. But then I bought this for a different project, and I went, that's what I want. I want that together in my colourwork yoke. So I'm going for a low contrast for this one. This is delightful wool. I convinced Mum to buy a sweater quantity so that I can make her a sweater out of it. It is Pasquale Pinta, which is a merino silk ramier blend. And it's actually the same blend exactly that is recommended or used in this pattern. It's a different maker, but it's the same blend, which wasn't planned, just a nice surprise. And this is colour 118. I love it. It is delightfully soft. And I just last night, yesterday was my birthday, we ordered Indian food and watched A Knight's Tale. And I started this yesterday morning in a cafe. I cast it on, so it's kind of my birthday cast on, even though it's a 12 cast ons. And then I got to the colour work last night. So this has a beautiful, this is the collar, it has a beautiful little lace collar. And you can see there just a little bit of that flower starting. It is incredibly low contrast at this point. I think it'll get a little bit more contrast when you get into more blues. But yeah, I love it. I am a little surprised. I've always enjoyed looking at low contrast, but never really made much that's this low contrast. But I am so enjoying it, and the fabric of this is so beautiful. And I just loving it. So I am about to not put it away. There are other things that I'm going to be focusing on. So I don't know actually how much I'm going to be working on this coming up, but I really enjoyed forgetting about all the other things I had to do and working on that yesterday because it was my birthday. I need to go. I am going to come back this afternoon and hopefully show you the rest. A few seconds for you, an hour for me. I am back. So let's keep going with the things that I have to show you. All right, this one is the alley sweater. This was another 12 cast on that I started in 2024. It was the 29th of December 2024 that I started this one. So I have 2 yarns for this. I have Miss Nitsky Macarena DK. Here is the label, and it is a 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. I haven't tried making socks with these. It would be delightful for socks, but I haven't tried it. 10% nylon should be enough to give it some strength for that. Maybe I'll do that with the leftovers. And I have where is the label for this one? I don't know where the label is, but this is a Malabrigo. The colour is Aniversario, but I can't find the label and I can't tell you exactly what. It is a DK weight. It's not Malabrigo Rios, but I can't tell you which one it is. So this is the contrast colour, and this is the sweater. Now you can see on camera there's a pretty big distinction around here between the blue colour. I did not alternate skeins while doing the colour work. The yarn that I got, there were kind of two distinct, one darker, one lighter, which I noticed at one point, and then I decided not to alternate, and then when I swapped to the second one, I didn't pay attention to the fact that I was grabbing a lighter, not a darker. So there is that difference. I'm not ripping back, I'm not changing that. I noticed it when I was still in the colour work, and I decided to keep going. I did start alternating for the body, and that's why the body is a little bit more variegated total in colour, but it's a hand dyed yarn, and so differences in skeins is normal. This yarn, the Macarena DK, is discontinued, I believe. I'm pretty sure she had it all on discount at the yarn show that we went to, Mum and I went to, but it is delightful to work with. I bought this at a yarn show in Torun, which is another area in Poland, 3 years ago. I want to say 3 years ago. Yeah, so it's excited. I'm excited that it's getting done. I do have on here, so when I picked it up this month, I had the last bit of colour work to do. So I finished that. I've got another 3-4 inches on the body before I split for the hem. It's a split hem. I was debating doing this cropped like I do so many of my sweaters, but I've decided to continue. I've decided to do it, I've decided to do it according to pattern. So the length of the pattern, do the split hem. If it didn't have a split hem, I'd probably keep it as a crop sweater because it would cinch in around my waist. Because it's a split hem, it'll go over my hips nicely, and it is always nice to have a longer sweater to wear with jeans or other things. So I've decided to knit it to pattern and to embrace that style, which means I just won't be wearing it over dresses as much. Like the one I'm wearing at the moment, if I can show you, like my hip is here, my waist is here, and so it's sitting really on my waist. It's still oversized, so it's not cinching in, but that is my preferred length for if I'm wearing it with dresses. So this one I'll wear with jeans or wherever. But yes, it is very squishy, very delightful. I don't know what else to say about it, except that I picked it up earlier this month because I want to finish things. Now, anyone who's been here a while knows this. I have no problem with lots of things on the needles. I like having lots of things on the needles. Today has been very sock heavy because I've been doing lots of Christmas knitting. But I love having things that I can pick up a sock while I'm waiting, like this morning. In fact, in the last hour between recording this and recording this again, I'm sure I brought it up. Yeah, I grabbed one of my sock projects and took it so that I could knit on it while I was waiting somewhere else, and then I came back and I'll show you what I've done. But I like having those little things that I can grab with me and take with me. And I also love just sitting down and sinking my teeth into a project. So this one is at a point where it is easy knitting and I can just kind of do it wherever. But it's not engaging enough for me to be like, I need to pay attention, because it's just alternating skeins, stockinette, stitch. But when I'm tired, it's pretty great for like TV knitting or something. But I like, for the big ones, to be able to work on them a lot together and see the progress. Like this is this much progress. Because you notice it. The small ones like socks, you finish them so quickly that I don't tend to get bogged down in them if they're vanilla socks. Anyway, but I find the last month, probably since I recorded last, because I've had my parents here, I've had birthdays, I've had travel, I've had a whole lot of things going on. So I've kind of felt scattered. Just in general, I felt scattered because I haven't had the same kind of downtime that I normally have. And so I've noticed that with my knitting, rather than being like, these are my things that I'm working on until I finish them, I'm like, I can grab this and grab that and grab that. So while I've made progress, I haven't necessarily felt the progress that I've made. So showing you this now, I'm like, that's impressive. In fact, here, is that where it was? Here is a bluey stitch marker that my friend brought me when she came from Australia. And here are the other two that she gave me at the same time, Bluey and Bingo. And that's from Tea Time Yarn Retreats is where she got them. So yeah, that's a decent amount of progress for a month, less than a month. So I think I'm at the point, now that I've shown you guys, in fact, is that marking something? Can I take that off? I'm going to change this down so I can see progress again. But I think what I'll do is I'll take stock again when my parents leave, which is in a week. But when they leave, I'll take stock and be like, all right, what am I actually trying to achieve and finish? Because Ange from Yarn and Yarns is doing a finishing frenzy where she's trying to finish as many things as she can before the end of the year and 12 cast-ons start again. And I have jumped on with that one because I'm trying to still finish Christmas gifts, and I would love to finish as many of these as I can so that I have the needles free for the next one, because I'm still finding that I'm short on needles a lot. So I've jumped on board her finishing frenzy, and you know, this is a definite contender. I've got a few more inches of stockinette and 2 stockinette sleeves. There's a tiny bit of colour work around the cuff, I believe, but like, that's not hard. I just need to do it. Anyway, so that is Ali's sweater, A-L-I'(S) sweater. And who knows, maybe it'll be finished next time I talk to you. Unlikely, but maybe. This is a bag that I picked up from Greece when I was there a couple of years ago. And in here is my big cozy cardi, which is another 12 cast-ons. Yes, another. This one I only actually casted on in, well, this month. I don't think I wrote it down. Let me check. Oh no, I did. I just can't read it. 7th of September, I'm going to say. So I cast this on the 7th of September, but it counts as like 12 cast on because I had to dye the yarn. And you can see probably a bit of a difference in colour there. It is hand dyed. I will knit for a while, alternate for a bit. Yeah, anyway, I'll do something. I have 5 skeins of this, but I'm not alternating the whole way because that is so painful. Anyway, so this is my big cozy cardi yarn that I dyed. And this is how much I've done of it. It is not very far through. That's the right side. That's the wrong side. I have heard someone recently say that they prefer the wrong side. And at the moment, I'm probably agreeing with them. But I also think the wrong side will be much more cozy to snuggle into. So I don't mind that being the right side. Big Cozy Cardi is another pattern by Andrea Mowry. I bought it a while ago and bought yarn for it and finally dyed it during 12 cast-ons and have now actually cast it on. This is going to take forever. It is a lot of stitches, and I think I knit it into a rectangle and then I seam parts and add cuffs and collars and things. So it is a different kind of construction to most of the cardigans I've made, and it is designed to kind of be like a blanket that you wear, I guess, like a big, cozy, oversized cardigan. I do have a contrasting blue, like a darker stormy blue maybe, for the shawl collar. It's got a shawl collar that's knit out of super soft yarn, and I've got a Surrey alpaca from Black Wattle Yarns and Fibres, which is shutting down. So that's sad. If you're interested, you can go check them out. They, I think, are still having a few updates as they empty their stock. But I did buy some of their super soft, can't think of what it's called, but it's a Surrey alpaca to do the shawl collar with. So that will be extra special when I get there. There's not much else to say about this. I was wanting to get this started because it is a simple 4-row repeat that I can pick up and work on whenever. And I was like, if it's on the needles, then it can be my easy knitting once I get the pattern down, which I've got the pattern down. And Yana from Finished Knitting Stories was debating doing this for her birthday cast on, because her birthday is also in September, and was asking for what people thought. I was like, hey, I have the yarn sitting, I just have to cast it on. And I was thinking of doing a birthday month project. So I started this, and she's also started, and she's done much, much more than me. But yeah, I did enjoy starting that and watching hers progress much quicker. All right, so that one, yep. Where's the next one? All right, the next one that I am making are socks. I always have socks on the needles, and these are, aside from the Colourwork Starchy Valley ones, these are the only socks I have cast on currently. And here we go. It is Trekking XXL. It is colour 721. And these are, yeah, I picked it up at a yarn shop in Krakow, I believe, Egeviania, and just enjoyed the colours, bought them, hadn't paid much attention to what it would do, and I started knitting it, and it's striping. And I had no idea that it was going to stripe. I mean, I knew that it would have kind of stripy elements to it, but I didn't realise it would actually be that stripy. And the lighter one is kind of an apricot, but it also has just kind of pops of yellow. I don't know how you'll see the pops of yellow there. But yeah, I was so excited when I saw this starting to work up. I did think I should do a contrast heel so that I don't break up the stripes. Like you can see on the top there, that bottom stripe is split. And then I'll go back to this colour for the next one. So I've broken up the stripes on the foot because I just did the heel in the yarn. I didn't break it. And that is because we were at someone's house and I was like, oh, I should do a contrast heel for this. And I thought we were about to leave. So I was like, if I stop where we're up to the heel, then I can leave, and when I get home, pick out a yarn. And then we just kept talking and talking. And I was like, you know what? I'm not putting it away. I'm just going to have the heel continue. These are also a gift. The person who they're for will not care. If anyone that I knit socks for does care and that's going to bug you, you should probably tell me, because I'm going to assume that you don't care because you're getting a pair of hand knit socks. Yeah. But no, I don't think they're going to care. But it is really, really fun. And I have to say, this yarn reminds me of you, Ange, if you're watching. Hi, by the way. Just the oranges in here. But I'm really excited because I have quite a few balls left of yarn that I bought from this shop, because I bought them with plans to do Christmas knitting or gift knitting with. And then I kind of just didn't make them because they were too bright, or I had other things that I was trying to knit for gifts. And so I just pulled this one out and I love it. And now I'm excited to go back and keep doing gift knitting with all the other ones that I have in there. Yeah, so that one I started 3 days ago. And it is, so here's the deal. My parents are leaving to go back to Australia in a week and a day they leave, but they leave super early in the morning, so we'll call it a week. And they are taking back all of the Christmas presents for my side of the family, and have offered to take back Christmas presents for my husband's side of the family if they have room, and then post them from Australia up to where everyone is, rather than having them posted from here over to Australia. So if they have room, it's amazing. Saves us a lot of money, but also saves a lot of time and concern, because it can take a long time for gifts to get from here to Australia. Well, that just kicks me into high gear again for all the things that I'm trying to finish. So I have done most of them. In fact, here we go. I won't tell you who I have yet to do things for, but let me just have a look at my list. So I've got 1, 2, 3 more things to do. Oh no, that one doesn't need to go. 2 more things to do for people in Australia that are socks. And I have a couple of not sock things that I'm trying to do, like sewing things that I'm trying to do. So if we call that 3, I'll take those off the list because they're not going to happen. So let's say I've got 2 pairs of socks and 3 not sock things that I'm trying to get done by the time Mum and Dad leave in a week. Which I say that and I'm like, that's never going to happen. But me and my husband are going away for a couple of days. By the time this is posted, we may have already gone and come back, because I don't know if I'm going to have time to edit this before we leave. But we're going away for a couple of days, and so I'm trying to figure out, it's going to be really 3 days, or like, it's 2 nights, but 3 days. And so I'm trying to figure out what knitting to take away. Because I'll take socks. I'm like, if I take the 2 pairs of socks that I need to have done, then theoretically I may even finish them both in that 3 days, depending on how much time we're doing sitting, which there will be quite a bit. I am planning to do a muscle burrow, and so I need to wind that yarn up and start it, and that can be one project. So then I'm like, do I take a pair of socks and a muscle burrow? Do I take 2 pairs of socks and a muscle burrow? It's a DK muscle burrow, so it won't be as long as a fingering weight to knit. Or do I take, I don't know. And like the pair that I've already done, like I'm halfway through the sock. So does that count as one pair, or do I take that to finish off, or do I leave that here and take, I don't know. We leave in not tomorrow, but the next day. So I'm like, if I finish the first sock, then I can, I don't know, because we're also, the main thing is we're limited luggage. So I don't want to take a whole lot of yarn that I'm not going to use, because that limits what I can bring back with me. Anyway, so that's kind of going through my head as well. I'm like, if I can finish the 2 pairs of socks and the muscle burrow, which also needs to go back to Australia, and I've forgotten about that, then I can, I think that'd be good. But here's my difficulty. I really would love to take this one. This, most of the project bags I've made. So if you're wondering why I haven't said where I've got it from, I've made it. There is a tutorial linked below if you want to make your own project bags. Like, I would love to take this and work on this, because this is it's such a special project anyway. Like, this orange yarn was a birthday present. The hand spun was obviously hand spun. It's just such a special project anyway. I kind of would like to take this, but also that's a lot heavier yarn. Like, that's 3 socks worth of yarn in that one project. I'll probably do the 2 socks and muscle burrow. What do you do when you travel? Do you overpack? Do you underpack? Because I could also take 1 sock and then buy yarn and start another sock there, but that doesn't help me finish Christmas presents. Anyway, enough of that. So, MKAL. I am participating in the Stephen West MKAL, and I'm not casting on the day that he is releasing the clue, because I am traveling that day, and I have decided that taking 450 grams of yarn for this project is not a good use of space or time while I'm away, because I'm going to be traveling and exploring, and so I want the simple projects, not an MKAL where I'm figuring out how to do everything. So I'm going to stay away from spoilers, not look at anything, and when I get back, I will look and cast on. So I'll start on Sunday. So I will be quite a bit behind other people. But let's have a look at what I've put aside. So this is a little bag that I got at the Wrocław. It's called Yarn Fest, and it says it over here in the corner. Yarn Fest 2025. I basically just loved. I think that sweater is actually based on a pattern that I've knit. That's exciting. I just loved the sweater, but it's just all things autumn. It's got a teapot. It's got either a mulled cider or a warming tea. It's got a hedgehog. It's got yarn, socks, a mushroom. Very important. I just love it. So this one I got from, I think I left a card in here to show you, Lucia Knits. So she actually has a YouTube channel as well, but she does bags that are, I think, calico, but then printed on. So this is just my little Notions tin, or Notions bag. It has everything that I may need for this knit along. And then I'll show you the colours. So this is Bamberino, which is by Miss Nitsky. I've had this in my stash for a while. I bought a gold one at the same time, and I've used that in a shawl, and it is delightfully soft. So I had this, and I've decided to use this. I went stash diving this year. Another one that I had in stash is this beautiful purple. Now this is sock yarn, and it does kind of pay me to not make socks out of it because it is gorgeous. But that was a gift in a swap. I don't remember who the swap was with, but it was a couple of years ago. I haven't knit it yet, so I thought, let's do it this way. How pretty is that? Then, because the MKAL this year is four solids or tonals, he said you can have speckled or variegated, but you don't, you want to make sure you have the contrast. So this is my variegated. I did want to include it. Then I have this one. This is a 50 gram, but I do have a second one of it. So that's 3 of my colours. And then my last colour is this one. So 2 blues, 2 pinky purples. They are my colours for the MKAL. I love them. They're very wintry. I love wintry colours. I don't wear wintry colours as much, but I love them. So I thought that is going to be really fun for my Yep. Lovely little whoop there. Lovely colours for my MKAL. Then I was thinking about the mohair dare. Now, Stephen West has a mohair dare. He says, if you dare, get some either coordinating or contrasting mohair and include it in your shawl. And I mean, he's been doing the MKAL for 15 years or something. And I don't know how far in he started the mohair dare. He definitely had it my first year and I didn't take it. But my first year doing it was shawlography. This is my 5th, I believe, doing. Well, it's my 5th one. There you go. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a mohair dare or not this year. These are all from stash. So I said if I decide to buy a mohair dare to go with it, then sure. And I'd seen some that kind of matched this blue perfectly or this pink perfectly, and I just was like, oh, maybe. Well then, is that gonna fall? I found one, and I saw it from a distance, and I went, yes, that is it. Oh yeah. It's maybe even brighter. There you go, that's pretty good. It is so bright. Let's see if we can see them together. So bright. So it's definitely different to the pink at the top. So it does bring in a 5th colour. I absolutely love it with the blue. It kind of makes it look orange when it's next to the blue. But yes, I absolutely loved it. So I bought that at the yarn show that Mum and I went to. Hang on, let's do this. And now that's my MKAL colours. I saw it from across the room and I was like, I want that. That is my contrasting colour. And I went down and I had a look and I was like, yeah, that's it. Like, it's that simple. Yeah. So I don't know how much I'm going to incorporate, but it just kind of makes it pop that little bit more. This is like all safe, nice, lovely. And then you add in the mohair and you're like, oh yeah, that's got some character. So they are my McKale colours. And next time I talk to you, I will, with spoilers of course, warnings, show you where I'm up to with it. Like I said, I'll probably have posted this recording after Clue 1 is out, but obviously I haven't seen Clue 1 yet. So no spoilers this year, or this week. Yeah, so that is they are my McKale colours. MusiKAL. I am very excited for a musical. I love musicals. My dad actually wrote lyrics to Sorry with a Fringe on Top from Oklahoma as like a parody for me knitting. So we're going to record that at some point, and I may put it at the end of this week or next time if I don't get it in this week. But yes, he was inspired by Stephen West's yarn parodies of different musicals that he's done, and so Dad decided to do one as well. Yeah, so that I believe is all my knitting this week, and I say that knowing full well that that is a lot of knitting, and this is why I usually record more than once a month, because there's a lot of it. But yeah, I guess kind of October making plans. I'm not at the point of recording separate videos for them, but my goals are to finish the 2 pairs of socks that I need to do to make the beanie that I need to make, the Musselburgh beanie. And I still would like to get the sewing things done as well. So they're kind of my week's goals, if you will. Saying that out loud makes me think I'm crazy. 2 pairs of socks, a beanie, and 3 sewing things in a week. We'll see. I should say this dress is on the form, not because I made it, but because it needs alterations. Anyway, so I think my week's plan is to focus on those 3, and I think I will probably take those away with me so that that's my knitting focus and I can get them done. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then for the rest of October, my making plans is the McKale. I would love to finish it on time again. I think last time I was 1 week after. And I do get together with some friends and we have a little Zoom every week to talk about it, which I'm not participating in the first one because I'll be travelling. But for every other Thursday in October, we get together and have a little Zoom meeting and catch up on either the MCAL that people are doing or on other knitting that they're doing if they're not doing the MCAL anymore. So I'm looking forward to having my like little weekly knit sessions again. But yeah, my focus will be the MCAL. And I think other than that, I'll probably pick a couple of projects, like maybe a jumper that's close to being done or socks or something. Maybe I'll start the Christmas socks for my family. But yeah, I'll pick something simple so that if I don't have the brain power to sit down and figure out what Stephen West has done in this next clue, I have my simple small knitting to take along with me. And then by the end of October, I'll then flick over to how many of these jumpers and projects can I finish before December starts, which then is Advent knitting. So I think November will be my finishing frenzy focusing month. At the moment, I'm still wrapping up Christmas presents. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to work. I think that's everything for this week. I am surrounded by yarn and socks and project bags. So I'm going to take all the things that I need to wrap into my bedroom so that I can wrap them away from prying eyes, and probably empty out this lovely basket from everything so that I can just keep new finishes in there, because I have liked having all of the things that I finished go to one spot. I'm going to give some vests and other knitted things back to my parents, because they've kindly lent them to me so I can show you today before they take them back to Australia with them. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been so lovely to finally show you all these things that I've been working on. Please let me know what you've been working on either while you've been watching this or in the last month, because I feel like I have lost track of a lot of things going on. And if, like, are you working, are you joining in the MKAL? Because I would love to know if you are, and if you are, what colours you have chosen. Are you doing muted? Are you doing bright? Are you doing tonals? I think one thing I love about the MKAL, aside from the fact that I always learn something new, is I love seeing the same pattern done in so many different varieties straight away. Because you look at one and you're like, oh, that's amazing, and you look at another and it's like it's completely different but equally amazing. Yeah, I'm excited. Cool. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day, week, month, whatever it is, and I will see you next time.